Good morning, everybody. My name is Paul Krotz. I'm the Senior Vice President of Communications with the Premier Hockey Federation, and it's a great honor for me to speak with you all this morning. We appreciate everybody's support and coverage of what's a very exciting day across the PHF, especially during July. This is never a dull moment in the hockey world, but we really value everybody's time and participation this morning. Of course, we're here to celebrate the launch of the PHF's seventh franchise in Montreal, Quebec, and to help share in their enthusiasm and to celebrate this occasion and to answer your questions. We're pleased to be joined by PHF Commissioner Reagan Carey and the president of the PHF's seventh franchise, Kevin Raphaël. We'll hear from both of them shortly, and then we will have an opportunity for questions. I will ask you all to raise your digital hand for questions. We will take those as they come. Bonjour tout le monde. Je m'appelle Paul Krotz. Bienvenue aux conférences de presse. We look forward to also welcoming les questions en français, specifically for Kevin. Reagan is working on her French, as am I, and we look forward to providing those opportunities. But Kevin is certainly bilingual and able to answer your questions in English and in French. So with that, let's get started officially and welcome Commissioner Reagan Carey for some opening remarks.
Thank you, Paul. And as noted, my training is underway, so I look forward to a little bit working on my French and being there in person to share some of my progress on that in the coming months. But as Paul indicated, we are extremely excited to be able to announce today a project that's been in the works and been thoroughly vetted for a number of months. But here today, we're able to announce our full commitment to expanding into Montreal and announce some of the leadership that will join us in that endeavor. So I appreciate everybody's patience. I started just a few days over 2 months ago, and that this has been circled on my list as a top priority since day one. And it's been a well vetted, thorough process to get us to where we can ensure that we have the right people, the right place, and the right time for us to take this next advanced step here for the PHF. So we're really excited to share what we can today, but this will serve primarily as an announcement of our commitment moving forward and anticipate a number of releases and updates in the coming months as we prepare for season 8. But with that, I'll turn it over to Kevin.
Kevin, you're muted. Ask you to welcome aboard, Kevin.
That's what I do. I love to start to talk with nobody listening, eh? But no, I'm proud to be a president of this team. I've been working so hard for the past 4 years now to bring a team back in Montreal after what happened. I believe in women's hockey. I believe they should be treated as professionals. I believe that we have the fan base and the infrastructure in the province of Quebec to support strongly a pro women's hockey team. And we have the best talent in the world. You just look at any world championship or Olympics, who are the best players, who's the best goalie, who's the clutch player, person from Quebec. And I want to build from here, and I want to make sure that the next generation sees that and be like, hey, my goal ain't to play for the Montreal Canadiens. My goal is to play for the X of Montreal. We'll figure the name out. But I can't wait, and it's a great challenge. I know I have a lot of things going on, but my team is amazing, and today proves it again. And I can't wait to start this journey in Montreal. Je suis très content d'être ici. Je suis très content d'être le président de l'équipe. Il y a beaucoup de gens qui sont surpris en ce moment, qui se disent comment ça Kev est président de l'équipe de Montréal. Mais je pense que je suis avec le hockey féminin depuis maintenant plusieurs années. Je travaille pour que le hockey féminin aille chercher de nouveaux niveaux à chaque année. Puis je suis fier de pouvoir être le président de l'équipe. Je suis fier de pouvoir amener une nouvelle vibe, une nouvelle culture, puis un nouveau momentum à ce mouvement-là. Faut qu'on construise ensemble le futur de demain du hockey féminin, puis ça passe avec l'équipe professionnelle. Il faut que nos filles jouent, il faut qu'elles soient traitées en professionnel pendant qu'elles le font, puis il faut qu'elles soient payées de façon décente aussi. Donc, je suis très content d'être là, puis j'ai hâte d'avoir vos questions. I finished.
Thank you, Kevin. Just a few more words here, and then we'll turn it back to Paul to answer any questions. But I hope that in these last few months, there's been a real awareness of the commitment, not just of the ownership, but our front office to continue to build and add people. The people are the engine that makes the PHF a success, starting with the players, but also leadership of our teams and the leadership of our front office. And we've been working hard to ensure that we've got passionate, proven leaders that can drive us forward. And as we saw with Mel Davidson, Casey Bellamy, and a recent update on our new CMO, Jim Pfeiffer, we see the Montreal as an extension of just that, the credibility, the passion, and purpose behind who we're bringing on board with the PHF. And Kevin certainly exemplifies that. I've enjoyed our several meetings and getting to know him and his energy, and just learning how much he's already committed to the women's game in the past. And no doubt that'll ramp up significantly here with the platform that he has with PHF.
Thank you, Reagan. Merci beaucoup, Kevin. Encore une fois, s'il y a des questions, maintenant c'est le temps. We will invite questions in both English and French. I will ask our participants to please introduce yourself. I will call on you for questions. We've got a lot of new faces on our console today, so I ask you all to please identify the media outlet that you are representing and proceed with your question to either to Reagan or to Kevin. And of course, if it's in French, please feel free to address appropriately. We'll begin our questions with Philippe Asselin. Philippe, you can proceed, unmute and proceed.
Hi, thank you for that. Philippe Asselin from Agence QMI. My question is for Miss Carey. How important was it to get a team in Montreal? And we're going to go start with that. How important was it?
Well, we've certainly had a lot of interest in expansion, and been working very hard to identify which areas best align with the PHF values and purpose, as I stated earlier. And when you take a look at the history and the active, rich hockey community in Montreal, and the people that are in place to help us drive the sport forward, this was an essential market for us, and we're really excited to see what we can do here.
Thank you.
Any follow-up, Philippe? If so, you can proceed again.
I'm okay. I will be back if I have another question. Thank you.
Okay. No problem. Our next question will come from Aaron Brown. Aaron, you can unmute and proceed, please.
Well, bienvenue. My French is bad. Quick question. I noticed in the press release, yes, Verdun is going to be the home base, but there's going to kind of be a barnstorming tour. Have you decided or determined some of those locations, and how important was it to have that opportunity to grow within the province?
I think it's very important to go everywhere and to grow the game in places that normally women's hockey or simply hockey don't go. You got a place like Abitibi, who's 8 hours a drive from here, who's never been involved with women's hockey at that level. We want to go there. We want to go to both 3 hours a drive from Montreal, where the women's hockey culture is so strong. They have a tournament with hundreds of players every summer, but they never got to see a real pro hockey game. So our territory is Quebec. Our home is Quebec. Our players, yes, we're going to have players from everywhere, but mainly from our city. And I want the people to be proud of our squad. So, yeah.
Any follow-up, Aaron?
Sure. Yeah. I was just also wondering if, as far as television, I know I'm sure that's still in the works right now, but I'm wondering if there's been any discussion open with RDS, TVA, as far as streaming games the way TSN, ESPN did last year. Thank you.
Yeah, this is definitely exciting time for a lot of legwork here in the off season, and broadcasting is a big part of that, as you'd imagine. So hopefully in the near future, we'll be announcing some of those next steps. But being able to have a growing market for the PHF in Canada certainly increases our focus on how to do that in the best and most thoughtful way to ensure that we have as many people able to watch the game as we can. So it's definitely in the conversation, and again, more updates to come.
Thank you, Aaron. I'll take our next question from Jared Book. Jared, proceed.
Hi. First question for Kevin. Obviously, free agency has started in May. How have you been able to talk to players? Were you able to talk to players, or are you going to be behind in signing players? What's that process been like leading up to today?
We wanted to announce the team before, making moves. We wanted to make sure that we have everything in order before making move. I'm not gonna lie that my phone been blowing up right now. A lot of players wants to play in Montreal. A lot of players that I didn't even know that wants to join, and I'm like, okay, you're from that place and you want to come play here? I think they know that Montreal is something else. We are Canada's team, and we got to make sure that the players that are involved feel that, see that. And so I don't think it's going to be long before we sign players, because I'm telling you, a lot of people are hating up my phone right now, and it's fun.
And a follow-up for Reagan. The press release didn't mention ownership. Are you able to confirm what the ownership structure will be for the Montreal team, and why it wasn't in the press release?
Yeah, absolutely. There's going to be continued releases, as I mentioned. So the press release today was really an announcement for Kevin, and to ensure that he can start answering those calls, and to announce our commitment to Montreal. So BTM Partners is the ownership group for Montreal, and we're excited to have them expand into this market.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jared. Our next question will come from Alex Azzi. Alex, you can unmute and proceed, please.
Hi, Kevin. Thanks for taking the time. Alex Azzi with NBC Sports and On Her Turf. Follow up actually on that quickly. Just one clarification. With BTM Partners as the ownership group, do you personally have any individual ownership stake in the team, or no?
I'm the president of the team, so I'm just the president of the team, and we'll see later what will happen. But right now, my job is to put the best team on the ice possible.
Got it. And then following up on that, given the role that John Boynton of BTM Partners has as chairman of Yandex, and given Yandex's role in suppressing information about Russia's invasion of Ukraine, I was wondering if you had any reservations about associating yourself with the group or joining up with this project as a result of that.
Man, you came from the top rope with that question. Oh man, listen. My goal is to bring something to our women's athlete. For 4 years, they haven't played. For 4 years, they haven't had a chance to play competitive sports. I understand what's going on with whoever, but at the end of the day, my goal is to treat the players as professional, to make sure they get paid for all the efforts they make, all the training. They train as much as the boys, and they do not get nothing. So my mission is to make sure that we do right by the players, and we do right by the sacrifice that they've made for the past 4 years. And I will do my best to make sure to ensure that everything they need is met. So that's my point of view on that.
Got it. Thanks, Kevin. And then Reagan, one question for you. Can you just tell us about the Toronto 6 sale? Has it officially closed yet, or where is that process currently?
It's still in progress.
Is there any date in mind of when that will close?
Can't provide that to you right now, but it's definitely a process that's similar to the one here in Montreal. It's a priority and continued discussion, and that'll continue to be something that's a priority for that ownership group.
Got it. Thank you both.
Thank you, Alex. Take our next question from Erica Ayala. Erica, you can unmute and proceed, please.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Good morning. Erica Ayala here. Have the honor of being one of the broadcasters from time to time, but wanted to cover this for Forbes here in the States. For Kevin and Reagan, I wanted to ask a little bit about, you talked about not signing players just yet, but can you talk a little bit about what the process is or what the league has for players that will be relocating? Or will there be any additional accommodations for players since they haven't been able to sign up yet with Montreal or the Quebec team? I'm just curious if there's any provisions that will be made for those players.
Sure, I can jump in on that, and then Kevin, feel free to add. But again, as we've indicated, such a strong hockey market, particularly right in the heart of Montreal, as well as surrounding areas. So we anticipate it being a lot of local players, in addition to those that want to join from North America and beyond. So there's certainly aspects of our bylaws that allow for supporting athletes and relocation. And at the same time, I would imagine there'll be a number of those calls are coming from the direct area to Kevin's phone. So there's a lot of support for that and discussion, but I have been asked already about the concern of the timing of announcing this team, and I think there's not going to be any lack of interest and roster building for Kevin. In fact, he might have his roster sealed before the rest of the teams do. So we'll let the competition begin.
Yeah, and we'll take care of the players. This is our priority. We're going to take care of the players. This team will be all about making sure they are treated as professional, they're treating right, and we make right by them. So, like I said, phone is blowing up, and I will answer every single call, and we'll build the best team possible to win the Isabel Cup.
Fantastic. And Paul, I do have a follow-up, if I may. Also want to think of it on the other side of things for the teams coming in. Can you just talk about, especially with this being a little bit of a different model where there's not one home arena, at least for this season, how will travel be coordinated with other teams coming to play?
I'll answer a little bit of that and say, part of as we build out our league office and as we grow as a league, we recognize the responsibility to make sure that we're facilitating and making that as turnkey as possible for teams, so that it's not an unnecessary or extra burden when it comes to what our goals are for the league and growing. Obviously, it's easier to go to one location every time, and the turnkey aspect of that is favorable to those who are in charge of logistics. But we also have to balance our decision to grow and expose the game and build new fans and energize the next generation of players. So with that, the league will certainly be supporting that and helping to make sure that everything's as smooth as possible, and the players will have, they continue to have the professional transportation and accommodations necessary to make sure that it's comfortable for them.
Thank you both.
Thank you, Erica. Our next question will turn to Marc Delbé. Marc, you can unmute and proceed, please.
Yeah, la question est pour Kevin, Marc Delbé de la presse canadienne. Kevin, vous avez dit que votre objectif, c'est de réunir la meilleure équipe. Qu'est-ce que vous allez faire, justement? Quels arguments allez-vous utiliser pour convaincre les meilleures joueuses du Québec ou canadiennes de se joindre à votre équipe?
Veux-tu venir jouer dans une ligue professionnelle?
Vous êtes conscient que jusqu'à présent, les meilleures joueuses n'étaient pas nécessairement entichées à l'idée de se joindre à cette ligue?
100%. Puis la raison pourquoi je suis là, c'est parce que il y a beaucoup de choses qui ont changé dans la ligue, puis ça continue à évoluer. Si tu m'avais dit il y a 3 ans, je t'aurais peut-être dit non, mais aujourd'hui, avec les efforts qu'eux ils font pour améliorer le sort des joueurs, puis les infrastructures, etc., l'investissement qui est rentré aussi dans la ligue, ça me permet de pouvoir promettre aux joueurs qu'on va les traiter professionnellement puis qu'ils vont être payés un meilleur salaire que pour jouer des showcases. À la fin de la journée, comme j'ai dit en anglais, ces filles-là s'entraînent à tous les jours comme les gars. Puis il n'y a rien pour eux. Puis, mettons, pour une petite fille qui regarde, il n'y a rien pour elle. Donc, je me dois de... Puis, j'avais la discussion, j'ai mon cadre de hockey féminin U16, c'est la 2e année cette année, puis j'avais la discussion avec certaines joueuses, je disais, c'est quoi ton objectif? Puis chacune de ces joueuses-là, c'était de jouer sur l'équipe nationale. Mais l'équipe nationale, il y en a 23 ou 26. Juste au camp, j'en avais 45. Donc, de leur offrir l'opportunité de dire, mais peut-être que je m'en vais pas sur l'équipe nationale, mais je m'en vais jouer professionnel, puis que je peux faire un salaire décent, puis être un peu récompensé pour les efforts que je fais à l'extérieur de mon boulot. Ben, moi, je trouve ça vraiment, vraiment important. Puis je trouve que c'est un argument pertinent. Puis, tu sais, dans les gens les meilleurs au monde, mais il y en a qui m'ont écrit ce matin et qui m'ont dit, Kev, nous, on ne sait pas encore c'est quoi ton plan, mais on veut vraiment en savoir encore plus. Puis appelle-nous, puis parle-nous. Puis si c'est possible, on veut venir jouer si ça fit avec ce qu'on veut faire. Tu sais, la chicane, de la PWHPA, de la PHF, ça ne me regarde pas. Moi, ce qui me regarde, c'est le sort de nos joueurs.
Merci beaucoup, Kevin.
Merci, Mark. We'll take a question from Alex Silverman. Alex, you can unmute and proceed, please.
Hi, thanks for taking the time. For Reagan, you know, I know there'd been some talk about potentially having 8 teams for the upcoming season. Sounds like it's going to be 7. Is there a timetable to add any team or any update on that front?
Yes, thanks for the question. This will solidify our expansion for season 8. At the same time, we're currently building a process for the bids for season 9, given the interest. And as you mentioned, we have other markets we've explored that, you know, it's my responsibility once I got here a few months ago to really vet and assess what is best for the league right now immediately and what's best for the long term. So I feel very confident and strongly about this being the right move for the league as well as the market that we're going into. And there's a lot of similar conversations going on right now for what's to come in season 9. So I would anticipate in the next few months you'll be getting another release from Paul about our criteria for how to expand and welcome a lot of that interest that we have in addition to the ones we've already been talking to here throughout the last several months. So lots more updates to come on that front, but we're excited about what season 8 will bring.
And for Kevin, with the you know, the traveling model for home games, you know, I definitely understand the desire to kind of promote the team throughout the province. And is there any concern, I guess, about the, you know, having the players travel not just for road games, but also, you know, for home games?
Of course, it's something that we thought about. It's something that we care about, but we're not travel the same day of a game. So at least, you know, you travel a day earlier, you get to rest a little bit, you get to, you know, enjoy the city a bit. And you know, every city that we will show up, we will be an event. You know, there's cities that does not get events that are left behind. And those cities are very important in our ecosystem to build a strong women's hockey base. If we go there this year and then, you know, 25, 50 girls sees the games and they're like, okay, I want to play hockey now too. That's building the roots for the next generation. So yes, the travel is not going to be easy. Yes, it's a lot of logistic. Yeah, but if everything was easy, everybody could do every job. We cannot stop ourselves with the challenges of doing something unique. This is unique and this is special. And we will do anything and everything in our power to make it worth it to the girls, to the fans, to the front office, the PHF, and for the opposing team too. We'll treat them right too.
Great. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Alex. Our next question is going to come from Kwabena Oduro. Kwabena, I believe, indicated through the chat they are having difficulties with their microphones. So I'm going to read the question. First one, kind of a two-part. First one, Reagan, how will pay work for the players who are playing? Some women I have spoken to have said one of the struggles besides not having a team is not being paid well.
Is it just checking? That's the end of the question. Sorry, it sounded like you were.
Yes, and then there's a follow-up for Kevin.
Okay, yeah. Well, I think as you've seen, you know, in the last several months since we've been signing players and, you know, being able to make history with the salaries that we've signed players for in women's hockey, I think we're turning the page and shifting the narrative on that. Obviously, we're really proud of being able to have the $25 million commitment to players over these 3 seasons and all of that will go to the players, whether it's salaries or medical benefits. That's, full medical coverage with dental and vision, and parental leave is included in all of that. So as Kevin's indicated, our priority is to take care of the players, and we'll continue to do that. We're excited and proud about what we've established and made history with, but at the same time, we're not going to rest there. We're going to continue to find more resources to be able to grow the league, but also grow the resources for the players. So we have no concerns about our commitment to paying the players, to provide great resources to them as professional athletes.
Thank you. And the follow-up from Kobina to Kevin, what will make this different from past years? Speaking to women over the years that want to play professionally but have a lack of options, what makes this opportunity different?
Because I speak to them every day. I understand what they need. I understand what they fight for. I've been in this women's hockey sphere for a long time now. And I'm not saying 10, 15, 20 years, but enough to be able to say, well, we built a hockey tournament three weeks ago where Caroline Ouellette and Julie Chu came out of retirement to play because they know we treat them as professional, and they know that the way we do things is always high level. So for us, it's not an issue, your question, but I mean, we're just going to go forward and do what we do. We didn't decide to bring a team to Montreal without thinking about stuff. We spoke to players' needs, and we're going to meet those needs every single day of this team.
Thank you, Kevin and Kobina. There are still plenty of hands. I want to assure everybody that has raised their digital hand, you will have an opportunity to ask your question. We're not stopping just yet, and I appreciate everyone's patience. Next one will take us from Simon Olivier. You can unmute and proceed, please.
So, thank you. My question is going to be for Kevin. Excuse-moi, j'ai un petit problème de gorge. Tu parlais tantôt des conditions, tu as beaucoup parlé des conditions que tu veux donner aux joueuses. C'est quoi le salaire minimum de la Ligue? Parce qu'on sait qu'il y a un salary cap à 750 000 par équipe, mais est-ce qu'il y a un salaire plancher soit pour les équipes ou pour les joueuses?
Ben, écoute, moi, là, je vais être honnête avec toi, puis je vais le dire en français pour te dire qu'ils n'entendent pas. Mais moi, je prévois dépenser 100% du cap salarial. C'est dans le budget. Je veux donner ça à nos joueuses. Puis, il n'y a pas de joueuse qui va faire le minimum. Nous, on croit en l'équité. C'est sûr que les meilleurs joueurs vont faire plus que la fille qui va jouer sur le 3e, 4e trio. Mais, je répète, la charge de travail, les efforts, l'entraînement, le sacrifice, tout ça, c'est des choses aussi à prendre en considération quand on parle de salaire avec les joueuses. J'ai eu des conversations ce matin au niveau des salaires, puis oui, c'est important pour les joueuses, le salaire. C'est clé, en fait. C'est pour ça qu'il y a de la chicane depuis 4 ans. Mais ils veulent être traités en professionnels. Ils veulent être considérés. Puis la considération, c'est quelque chose qu'on prend pour acquis beaucoup de nos jours. Là. Mais tu sais, juste de prendre le pouls d'un groupe, d'une communauté, puis dans ce cas-là, la communauté de hockey féminin, je peux pas passer au travers. Là. Je peux pas ne pas faire ma job de m'assurer que toute joueuse a assez d'argent pour faire au moins ce qu'elle a besoin de faire pendant la saison, tu sais.
Je comprends ton point. C'est plus que tu dis, bon, il y a des joueurs qui vont évidemment gagner plus cher que la moyenne, ce qui tombe sous le sens. Dans le fond, les meilleurs gagnent plus. Sauf que si le salaire moyen est à 35 000 puis il y en a une qui gagne 50, ça veut dire qu'il y en a une qui gagne 20. Est-ce que ça veut dire que cette fille-là, il faut qu'elle travaille on the side, qu'elle ait un emploi à temps plein en plus de jouer au hockey? Est-ce que c'était normal pour toi qu'une ligue professionnelle emploie des filles qui ont un autre emploi?
Est-ce que c'était normal que la Ligue canadienne, il y a 4 ans, donnait 2 000 $ par année aux filles?
Oui, mais c'est pas ça que tu vends aujourd'hui.
Je sais, mais là, je t'explique. Ce que moi, je te dis, c'est que c'était pas normal avant. Là, il y a une évolution. Il y a quelque chose on est capable d'aller de l'avant. Il y a quand même un méga gap entre 2 000 puis 37 000, 38 000, 39 000. Et puis, mon but, c'est qu'on continue à aller de l'avant. C'est la première année. Tu sais, je pense qu'il faut aussi faire attention, puis il faut tempérer, puis il faut se donner une chance parce que si on arrive puis qu'on dit « Ouais, mais comment ça, ils font pas 1 million? Ouais, mais comment ça, ils font pas 100 000? Ouais, mais comment ça, ils ont une deuxième job? » Ben, c'est le début pour tout le monde. Puis là, on rentre dans un écosystème d'une ligue. T'sais, on ne va pas arriver puis on ne peut pas beding badang. Le cap salarial, c'est 750 000. Puis moi, mon but, c'est de donner ces sous-là aux filles puis de m'assurer qu'on puisse le faire comme il faut. Maintenant, notre rôle pour s'assurer que dans 3 à 5 ans, ces filles-là n'aient pas besoin d'avoir un autre job, c'est que chacun doit faire notre part. Autant nous que les médias, que les sponsors, que tout le monde, il faut que tout le monde mette la main à la pâte. C'est pas juste, oui, mais il faut qu'ils fassent ça. Mais il faut qu'on ait du coverage pendant nos games. Il faut qu'on parle de nos joueuses, même si c'est l'été. Il faut qu'on soit en mesure de mettre de l'avant ces filles-là, pas juste de dire que ils ont une deuxième job. Oui, ils ont une deuxième job, puis ils sont badass de le faire. Ils sont badass d'avoir une deuxième job, puis de quand même tout sacrifier pour jouer au hockey. Puis moi, je pense que oui, il faut célébrer ça, mais c'est un point que, OK, c'est ça. Puis moi, je veux arriver à ce qu'une joueuse joue temps plein. C'est pour ça que je suis là. Mais il faut que je commence quelque part.
Excuse-moi, je ne voulais pas te couper, j'en risque une troisième si je ne me fais pas couper par le modérateur. Tu as évoqué tantôt l'idée que c'est pas ton problème, la chicane avec la PWHPA, puis c'est vrai, je le comprends bien. Cependant, tout indique que la PWHPA va arriver avec une ligue quelque part à l'hiver prochain. Comment tu vois ça, la cohabitation entre possiblement 2 équipes dans le même marché?
Moi, je trouve ça le fun. Ça donne plus d'opportunités aux joueuses de jouer. Moi, je suis 100% pour les joueuses. S'il y a 2 équipes, ça veut dire qu'il y a 46 joueuses. Il y a 46 joueuses qui vont faire des salaires. Après ça, tu sais, il y a plusieurs marchés où il y a plusieurs équipes, soit professionnelles ou juniors ou whatever. Moi, ça me stresse pas. Nous, on va faire ce qu'on nous, on a à faire. Puis, on ne va pas se préoccuper des autres. Je vais prendre mon équipe, je vais m'occuper de mon équipe. Si le PWHPA veut parler, ils ont mon numéro. S'ils veulent discuter ou ils veulent aller de l'avant avec certains trucs, ils peuvent le faire. Je ne suis pas fermé, moi. Je fais pas partie de la chicane. J'arrive. Je suis neutre. Moi, je parle à tout le monde. J'aime tout le monde, puis allons-y, tu sais. Fait que c'est pour ça que tantôt, j'ai dit que je m'en foutais de la chicane parce que ça ne m'implique pas. Donc, s'ils veulent me parler, ils sont les bienvenus. S'il y a des joueuses qui, comme ce matin, qui m'ont écrit qui sont dans le PWHPA, qui veulent me parler, je ne vais pas dire, je ne peux pas te parler dans le PWHPA. Je vais répondre à tes questions, puis après ça, tu pourras faire une décision éclairée, puis avoir une possibilité de jouer quelque part.
Merci beaucoup, puis bonne chance avec ça.
Merci.
Merci, Simon. Our next question come from Holly Morrison. Holly, you can unmute and proceed, please.
Awesome. Thank you. Holly Morrison from the Ice Garden. I've got 2 questions. First one, obviously, for Kevin. You talked a bit already about this being a process of bringing professional women's hockey back to Montreal that sort of you've been involved with for, 4 years now. When did you sort of realize that the PHF was the partner that you wanted to work with to bring women's hockey back to Montreal?
I'd say a couple of months ago, maybe more. I had a few conversations about the changes that they wanted to make, and having Reagan on board was what made me say, okay, I'm ready to listen and to go forward with them, because I think Reagan is a great mind. She's a go-getter, and she will bring this league to other levels, to places that never been before. And I know this league has a past. But if we stay in the past, we never grow, and we never change, and we never go forward. So my goal is to go forward. My goal is to give an alternative to players, give them a choice, and if they can decide after that, I did my part. I did what I was supposed to do. Helping women's hockey is not just watching the TV or following the players on Instagram. It's about being involved. It's about moving things. And that's what I want to do. I want to move stuff and move furniture and help this league grow and my team grow.
Fantastic. And you also just sort of spoke about, the league in the past. What were some sort of changes that you noticed, maybe some things that Reagan pointed out to you that sort of maybe eased some reservations that you might have had about being involved previously?
Reagan has a structure like no other. Reagan knows where she's going, what she's doing, who we need to talk to. She got bullet points for days. That structure is something that this league needed. And everybody on the call knows this is not new. This is not news to anybody. This league needed somebody that could, steer the ship the right way. And Reagan does not, I'm sorry I'm going to swear, but she don't take shit. She just does what she needs to do. And that, I respect that. And I'm telling you, after one meeting with Reagan, I said, okay, she will regulate me. I love it. She's going to be a badass boss. So I can't wait.
Awesome. Thank you. And I do have one more question for Reagan. You said that BTM Partners was the owner for, this new franchise. Obviously, the stated goal is that you'll have multiple owners for every team. So is BTM Partners being the owner in Montreal temporary, sort of the way we saw it be in Toronto?
Yeah, I think, our goal has been stated several times, the importance of Montreal and where we would like to expand to and what we're about and the purpose behind the PHF. So that's where we, start the conversation and figure out how to make those things happen. But certainly our goal is to, have a number of owners, a number of investors, and just to diversify our entire ownership team. So as Kevin alluded, we'll see what that brings for him and his group in the coming months and season. But also, we're going to have a lot of conversations and look for people that are like-minded and what we believe in at the PHF to help us move it forward. And, we're thankful for, the efforts and support and passion and energy that the BTM partnership group brings. But, we're looking for the opportunity to add to that and, again, bring in as many new people as we can. So, again, lots of excitement ahead and look forward to more updates on these fronts. But just to point out, I do like some good bullet points, and I'm a big fan of Excel sheets too. So if there's anybody out there that, wants to talk in that category, I'm happy to do that as well. So thanks, Kevin, for pointing out my appreciation for that.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Holly. We'll move along with Ben Baudouin. Ben, you can unmute and proceed, please.
Bonjour, merci beaucoup de prendre le temps. Thanks. Ma question est pour Kevin. Salut, Kev.
Salut, ça va?
Yes, sir. Merci de prendre le temps. On a parlé un peu de la chicane, on a parlé de ce qui se passe entre les deux associations et tout ça, mais tu as dit que ton téléphone sonnait beaucoup. Est-ce que tu peux sans vendre la mèche et tout ça, mais sans nommer de nom peut-être, j'imagine que tu peux pas, mais est-ce que tu as l'intention et est-ce que tu as confiance de pouvoir attirer une joueuse vedette dans ton équipe pour vendre le projet ici au Québec?
100%.
Tu vises quel niveau de joueuse?
Moi, là, je ferais pas une bonne job si je visais pas les meilleurs. Je ferais pas une bonne job si j'appelais pas les gens. Puis si les gens, quand ils appellent ou quand ils textent, je répondrais pas. Tu sais, à la fin de la journée, oui, j'ai des relations avec ces joueuses-là, d'amitié. Certaines des meilleures joueuses, j'ai des relations d'amitié avec elles. Mais à la fin de la journée, c'est de la business. Puis moi, ma job, c'est d'essayer de leur donner une opportunité, une alternative. Puis s'il y a 2 clubs à Montréal, c'est, comme j'ai dit en anglais, c'est 46 places pour des joueuses à être payées. Non, moi, je vais m'essayer avec toutes les meilleures joueuses. C'est sûr et certain.
Au niveau de ton partenariat avec Daniel Sauvageau, est-ce que tu as l'impression que ça ajoute une couche de crédibilité au projet et que ça pourrait peut-être faire changer le fusil d'épaule de certaines de ces joueuses-là?
100%. Puis, je suis avec Daniel depuis maintenant 2 ans. J'avais des projets avec Daniel avant même de faire mon cadre d'hockey féminin là-bas. Je parlais déjà à Daniel sur certains trucs. Donc, tu sais, c'est pas nouveau que je parle des heures et des heures au téléphone avec Daniel. Là, c'est juste plus connu avec l'annonce d'aujourd'hui. Mais nous, c'est de continuer vraiment. Qu'est-ce qu'on fait? Puis, tu sais, on dit Daniel, mais tu sais, c'est le centre aussi, là, tu sais, d'avoir une infrastructure, d'avoir une maison où on peut aller s'entraîner, avoir des soins, où on peut se développer, patiner. Ça aussi, ça va aider le hockey féminin, pas juste professionnellement, mais aussi au niveau de l'université, collégial, puis au niveau du hockey mineur aussi. Donc, non, c'est sûr, c'est une couche de crédibilité. Puis Danielle, peut-être fâché, je dis ça, là, mais moi, je l'appelle The Dawn. Je l'appelle The Dawn Daniel Sauvageau parce qu'elle sais, elle te regarde dans les yeux, là, puis tu shakes presque dans tes pantalons parce qu'elle sait qu'est-ce qu'elle veut, puis c'est elle, le hockey féminin. C'est elle, le visage du hockey féminin.
Last question, if I may. Kevin, quand Marie-Philippe Poulin a été engagée par les Canadiens de Montréal, Jeff Molson a été questionné sur une ligue féminine. Il a dit que les Canadiens de Montréal veulent s'impliquer au niveau du hockey féminin. Ils voudraient s'impliquer au niveau d'une équipe. Est-ce que tu as eu des discussions avec les Canadiens de Montréal?
Moi, pas là, pas encore. Je pense que ça s'en vient. Par contre, pas à 10h46. On l'annonce à 8h. Fait que ça risque de venir dans les prochains jours, mais je sais qu'il y a un désir de la part du Canadien de Montréal. Puis quand tout va arriver, ben, on va être capable de s'asseoir et de regarder qu'est-ce qu'on peut faire. Là.
Félicitations, mon gars, pour cette belle nomination, ce gros projet. Bonne chance aussi. Thanks, everyone.
Merci. Puis c'est le fun de te parler sur le cas. J'apprécie beaucoup.
Yes.
Merci, Ben. Next question from Sam Fryman. Sam, you can unmute and proceed, please.
Well, thank you very much. Good morning and bonjour. That's about the extent of my French, but I certainly plan to learn more. Been fortunate enough to be one of the broadcasters for this league and also do a lot of media for the Boston Pride team specifically. My first question will come to you, Kevin. Obviously, sort of the games you're going to have all around the province of Quebec. I was just interested in, is there a plan for any sort of corporate sponsorships or local team partnerships when you're going to these different locations throughout the season, exactly what the plan might be there to drum up interest even more from the partnership side of things?
Of course, every place, every city, every region has their own ways of doing stuff, and we got to respect that. You go further up north, sometimes they don't, things are not the same thing as Montreal. So that's the first thing. We got to respect the way people are doing their stuff in their city. After that, I don't think it's going to be a problem for sponsorship or stuff like that, especially, again, we announced it at 8 and people are calling, texting. I want to help. This guy wants to send us bread. I'm like, okay, let's put a pause on sending bread to people. Let's see what we can do. So, we announced it not even three hours ago publicly. Of course, we had talks with people in secret, knowing that the announcement was coming. But I'm not afraid or worried about sponsorship or stuff like that in every city. I know Quebec it's one. You know, we're the only French-speaking province in Canada, so we got to stick together. Even sometime if we argue together, but at the end of the day, we got to stick together. And this team, we got to stick together for this team too. So, yeah.
And just another sort of confirmation follow-up question off of that. Obviously, the announcement was made here for all of us a little while ago, but I was wondering, was there any timetable that potential players and free agents knew that the team was coming here to Montreal, or is this going to be just kind of an ongoing process with them of sort of now they know and now they can really negotiate with you guys?
Exactly. Now they know. Now it's on.
Yeah, I'll just add to that you know, we pride ourselves in communicating as much as we can with the player pool as well as all the stakeholders in women's hockey to the extent we can, and we've been relaying that it's still in the works. So to make sure players know that it's a possibility for the coming season. And as soon as we were able to share that in advance of the press release going out today. So I think there's this might be the least best kept secret going, but obviously we needed to get everything in place to be sure that it was the right thing to do for this season. So I think the players weren't surprised to see this, but excited to see it. And we're looking forward to seeing Kevin jump off this call to start answering his phone and building the roster.
Absolutely. And one final question, if I may, for you, Commissioner Carey, in regards to the 8th expanded team for next season. You really mentioned that there had been a lot of interest from a lot of potential cities and markets. And I was just wondering, with a lot of the teams still primarily within sort of an East Coast bubble and Minnesota kind of being out there on the island. Is there a priority to really kind of bridge that gap with perhaps a team in the Midwest or exploring a new region like the West Coast? Or given where you are in the process now, is it simply going to be whoever kind of makes the best pitch or whoever we feel most comfortable with, that's going to be who we decide to move forward with for season 8?
Well, it sounds like you might have gotten a sneak peek at some of my recent meeting bullet points, but you touched on all the important aspects that, yes, we want to be, I think we're in a thriving time for the league, which puts us in a great position to be strategic about where we want to go and how we want to grow as we move forward. So this is certainly an opportunity for us to take a step back, which is why Montreal will be a great step forward for us in season 8, but it gives us an opportunity to really evaluate what does season 9 look like and what's in the best interest of growing the league and for the players. So to your point, being strategic about that is part of our game plan here, and also why we'll be creating a lot of criteria and bidding process for that, so we can evaluate again who not just the right people, but we had the right process in place and the right place for us to go and to maximize what we want to do with the league. So the long answer, but the short answer is yes, we want to be strategic about that, and it won't just be the highest bidder. It'll be the right fit and the most purposeful leadership behind teams.
Okay. Thank you all very much, and merci.
Thank you, Sam. Next question from Isabella DeMore.
Hi, how are you? Isabella DeMore with the Philadelphia Inquirer. My question is for Reagan. Kind of going off of what you were just saying, and you touched on this a little bit, but how do you plan to further evaluate expansion for the league and the sport in the future?
Yeah, there's so many areas to gather information from and to leverage research that's being done and to better understand, the women's sports market in general, but also what's great for hockey. Teammates like the Sports Innovation Lab have been really helpful in informing us about the trends and areas that demonstrate where we could thrive, as well as just our own research and working with markets that want to work with us. And again, it comes down to that purposeful partnership. There's a lot of people out there that want to scoop up and buy teams, or that want to just put a lot of cash towards women's sports right now, which is terrific for our industry and particularly for women in sports. But, you also have a responsibility to make sure that it aligns with all the values and vision for the league. And so our effort will be about making sure that we're making great business decisions and that we're finding opportunities for business development and revenue generation, but it won't be at the cost of us doing anything that's not in line with our values.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Isabella. Next question from Sophia Chappelle. Sophia, you can proceed, please.
Oh, hi, good morning. Thank you for doing this. My first question, it's mostly for Reagan, but Kevin, if you have anything on it, feel free. What is the effect going to be on the number of games in the schedule overall, both with adding a new team and also this traveling schedule they're going to have?
Yeah, we'll increase games from last season, and we'll have more content about that coming out as we reveal the schedule and playoff format and other details around the season 8. So it will increase, and we'll be able to share that with you soon.
Thank you. And then my second question was for Reagan specifically. So there's been a lot of question about the league growth, specifically with the Professional Women's Hockey Player Association and a little bit of the NHL. There's not a lot of info, but it keeps coming out. How does this affect that? Or if you could give any update on any of those partnerships that people have been talking about.
Sure. I mean, I've said it several times, but our door is always open for conversations on how to team up and collaborate and grow the sport. That hasn't changed. It won't change. But we're also moving full steam ahead in building a thriving home for women's professional ice hockey. And that's our objective. And that's what we're doing. I think it's been pretty clear from all the action we've had in the last few months and what we plan to do moving forward. So ultimately, this announcement with Montreal and the work we're doing with the PHF just allows players options. As Kevin alluded to, like players need to play, players need a place to train and thrive and grow their professional careers. And the PHF is excited to be a great spot to do that. So to be able to expand and provide more opportunities for players, I think it just gives, again, players, what they've been looking for and what they've been asking for. They want to get paid to play. They want to be treated as professionals, and they want to have consistency and great experience in the leadership that builds a league. And I think we're, answering the call on all fronts. So I'm excited for players to be able to explore what the PHF can provide to them and the benefits they can have when they sign with this league.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you, Sophia. We'll take a question from Armin Klizovic. Armin, you can unmute and proceed, please.
Reagan, thanks for your time. So the last two expansions have been in Canada with Toronto and Montreal. Also, and as Sam mentioned, moving out to the Midwest. Was that a thought when you looked at Montreal about adding, a second Canadian team with the last two expansions?
Yeah, I can't emphasize how thorough the process was for us to assess all aspects of it. I think I've emphasized what's most important to us is people and purpose, and then aligning the more strategic efforts where it comes down to logistics and locations and markets. But it's all part of that process, and we're looking to expand. We're doing things that are helpful in the immediate time frame, but also we intend to be here for a very long time. So our strategy and how to grow and how to position ourselves to advance into areas that we know are great hockey markets that are outside of where we are right now is an important part of the process for us. So yes, that is accurate.
Obviously, Montreal is a huge hockey town. How much does that help the PHF and help the league overall grow? Not only this year, but beyond this year?
I'll let Kevin elaborate on this, but for us to be in Montreal that has such a rich hockey history is really exciting for us, but also important. As you mentioned, we have an opportunity. We're here to change the game. We're here to elevate the sport for women and girls that want to play. And the best way to do that is to team up in markets that, we can make an impact and make a positive difference in. And we intend to do that by being in different areas around the province and to make sure that we're, energizing new fans and energizing a new generation of players that only supports the growth of our sport. Kevin?
I agree 100%. And just by the fact that we have so much talent here, we can build two teams here. So much good players here. So for me, it's just giving an opportunity to those girls to play, an opportunity to those girls to see what it is to be treated as professional, and we will do everything in our everything we can to make that happen. And I can't wait to go to those markets because I can just feel it. There is a momentum about women's hockey. They watch the Olympics, most watched event in the Olympics. They know. They want to see it in person. They want to meet the players. They want to feel it in the arena, just like I felt it the first time I went to an arena. First time I went to an arena, I didn't know much about women's hockey. Anne-Sophie Betté invited me to the game, to one of the Canadian games. And I'm sorry, I'm going to tell a story. I'm sorry. I'm out. And I went there, and I was like, this is different than men's hockey. Just the vibe, the feel, just the screams in the crowd, the kids being so happy, being not jaded, because they're so excited that they have something that looks like them, that feels like them. And this is the vibe I want to bring to all those places and all those regions, and also to the region of Montreal. We're not going to let Montreal on the side. We care about Montreal, and it's at the center of everything we're going to do. But Quebec's going to be fired up with what we want to do.
One last question for you, Reagan. You look at the fan engagement, that's got to be a huge part. And as Kevin was mentioning, how much do you find that the fan engagement is important, compared to, the men's league and the women's league, how, you have more access to players in the women's league?
Yeah, well, I'll rely on my past experience in fan development with NHL teams and how critical that connection is in the relationship with the community to be able to have success. And I think that'll be a critical part of our success. And hence why I sleep well at night knowing Kevin's in charge of this whole game plan, because if anybody understands relationships and community and the importance of really working with and for people, it's Kevin. So yes, it's going to be a really critical angle for us, but at the same time, it's well underway, and I think they're going to thrive in that area.
Thank you.
Thank you, Armin. I see some follow-up hands from Alex and Erica. If that's, I trust that's intentional, so I'll ask Alex to unmute and proceed.
Yeah, thank you so much, Paul. Reagan, I had a follow-up for you. A couple of minutes ago, you mentioned, the contracts that we've seen players sign. However, it's my understanding that there's currently a confidentiality clause in the contract that means players are not permitted to share their salary. And I was wondering if you could both confirm that, but also if the league has any plans to change that language so that players can share their salary more freely with the public.
Thanks. Yeah, I appreciate the question. As I alluded to earlier, communication is a big part of what I think is important, what sets us apart, what will inevitably, lead us to a lot of success within this league. And listening to players and talking with players and understanding what their needs are and desires are is paramount for us. So those conversations have been happening since even a few days prior to my announcement, and then been consistent since then, working with Nicole there from the player representative side, as well as a number of key players, and then there's the player pool itself. So the answer to that is I think you'll be finding we'll be updating a lot of that, and transparency is at equal footing with communication in my eyes. So allowing players who want to, which I think is an important aspect of that, players who would like to, I think you'll see those changes coming in the near future.
Just a follow-up on that. Is that something, when you say the near future, do you expect the contract language to change prior to this coming season? Alternatively, if a player does disclose their salary and that's not allowed in the current contract, would the league go after them for disclosing it?
Well, I don't see a scenario where our league will go after any players. That sounds pretty aggressive and not the kind of relationship we want with players. So I found the player pool to be very helpful and collaborative, and in us trying to find what's best as we move forward. So I think we're all working really well together. I think that they've brought up great points. We've brought up great points, and finding that middle ground and that mutual respect, and that'll help us move everything to the next level. But again, I think if you look at my track record, as well as the things we've done, transparency is important. So yes, there'll be an opportunity for us to, I think, share more, and not just in that category.
Thank you.
Erica, can you unmute and proceed, please?
Thank you so much to you both. And Kevin, I have to thank you as well. I'm not a coffee drinker, but you certainly woke me up here in Vegas this morning. But I wanted to go back to something that you said. You talked about really wanting to rearrange furniture. I wanted to ask, like, are we starting with the dining room table, the living room? Like, no, but seriously, in addition to the model being different and unique as far as where home games will be played, what are some of the other things that you have on your, maybe not your bullet points, but your whiteboard, as far as how this team and this franchise can be innovative?
The way we broadcast players, the way we promote them, I think for a pros team to work, we have to have a personal attachment to the players. If I take by example, the Montreal Alouettes back in the days were so hot in Montreal because we knew the players and we loved the players. Win or lose, that's our team. This year, we're starting back to that, knowing the players and loving back the players. We got to do that with women's hockey. Their personalities are amazing. They are so generous with their time. They have hobbies that I didn't even know existed. Every time I speak to them, they teach me stuff. And I feel like this is something that we got to bring to the forefront. So that's one of my big thing. Also, our community involvement. A lot of talk, there's a lot of talk on social media about we want to do this, we want to do that. There's this cause, we need to work on this cause, and people talk. I want us to go on the ground. And it's not to say that I'm special, but for me, my greatest thing that I do in a year is when I do volunteering in Montreal. And that's the thing that I love the most. But we need to bring those girls to do those things, to have, to understand new stories and to grow with the city. There cannot be a disparity between pro athlete and the city. We won. We won province, we won group, we won squad. So I want to create this link between women's hockey and my province.
Thank you so much. And Commissioner, I wanted to come to you for a final question here, thinking and kicking this up a little bit more broadly to hockey. We've seen that Hockey Canada, or I should say sponsorship, and even the government of Canada really cracking down on being able to be supportive of athletes and what that looks like in very specific cases. We've also seen that on the side of the NHL, and that, I think Commissioner Bettman's take is that, these are societal issues and not hockey issues. I would maybe tweak that a little and say, but hockey is a part of society. So I wanted to just get your thoughts and what the Premier Hockey Federation can do when it comes to being able to be advocates of athletes and ensuring that when there are any things that unfortunately are unfortunate to talk about, such as assault or racism or some of the other things that hockey players and people have to deal with in society, how will the PHF be supportive in that way?
It's a great question, and similar to what Kevin just discussed. These players have incredible stories and incredible purpose in their own lives, let alone what they represent as a professional athlete, which is also powerful. So I think if you were to ask the player pool that has been on board in the last few months, I've reached out to them to really encourage them to share their stories with us so that we can use this platform to help educate and inform our community and help us all grow and develop together. So I feel very strongly about using this platform in ways that is positive and educational and supportive of stories that we can all learn from. I think, you've seen that already with Kelly Babstock and some of the work that came from a note from me to the player pool asking for what players really feel passionate about and reach out to us and share that with our front office so that we can, again, showcase those stories and help tell the message that's important to our players. So I think you'll see a lot of that. It's already started, but a lot more of that coming out of our league. And when it makes sense, different topics and different areas, we'll be sure to issue statements and be a leader that we feel is an important aspect of our responsibility as a league within women's sports. And I think you make a terrific point. Women's sports in general has a different level of responsibility to voice things that matter to this community. And I know we'll do that thoughtfully, and I know we'll do that collectively in ways that hopefully, again, help us all learn and grow together.
Thank you, Erica. I see one last follow-up before we wrap up. Sophia, you can proceed, please.
Hey again. My question springs from Kevin talked about community engagement, and that got me thinking over, particularly in Pride Month, the PHF engaged a lot with artists on social media, specifically Twitter. And I was wondering, are you all going to continue that engagement or change it in any way or expand it?
I want to grow it at every places. I want to. Look, I have so many things I want to do for this team. If I could do everything in a year, I would not sleep. But yes, I want to involve the artists. Yes, I want to involve the different foundation, the different communities, the different or I don't know the word in English, but fundraisers. I already have mine with my charity hockey game that I do every year. So it's something that is very important for me. As I have another job too. I'm a media person too. So for me, it's very important that they see both sides of the coin. And yeah, love it. I love it. And we're gonna have a good time. And I want to make sure we involve more people than what we're supposed to. I want to make sure that they feel welcome, the doors are open, and they feel respected, seen. I want them to know that this is their team. And we have a basketball team now in Montreal that's new. And I was at the game last night, and I was screaming out loud, screaming top of my lungs, this is my team. I wish somebody does the same thing for this women's hockey team.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Sophia. Reagan, any final thoughts to offer?
I'm just really excited. I think you can tell from the opportunity to speak here about this and the leadership that Kevin's going to bring, the team, all the ideas and the energy he's going to put into this franchise. It's going to be exciting to watch, and particularly over the coming weeks and months, there'll be more rollout on the details of the team and things like the name and the logo. And I can't tell you how excited he is about that project. I've already seen a lot of those ideas coming across. So it's just a lot of great energy, and I appreciate everybody's support of amplifying the message for us and supporting what we're trying to do here at the PHF. I mean, we're a collective of doers, and we plan on delivering on what we say we're going to do, and we want to do it with a collective mindset. We're all doing it together. It takes a lot of people to make great things happen and to do it quickly. And I think you can see from this collaboration and past ones that we're on the right path with all of this. So thank you everybody for joining us, and excited to let Kevin get to work here immediately. And we'll see you all soon.